Hey, I built my cats a living room.
Right there.
And while this is not my usual content, it was so much fun and it turned out so cute, I have to share it with you. If you're new here, my name is Elise, and once in a while I make one-off videos like this where I do something weird in my house, like the time I built a guinea pig enclosure. And if you want to see that video, I'll put a thingy right here. But today, we're gonna build a living room for my cats. So first, let me show you the area I'm gonna build it in. So I have this dead space, and it is right by the front door, directly above my coat closet. And I've tried to decorate it. I did Christmas decorations. I've tried to do normal all year decorations. I can't think of anything. I hate everything I put up there. I'm sure a normal person that is good at decorating could come up with something beautiful and normal to put in this nook. I can't. The only thing that has come to me is a living room for my cats. The ceilings are really high here. It's like the big entryway with vaulted ceilings. And so there's tons of wall space, and the upstairs is open to this area. There's this railing where the guinea pig enclosure is, and the cats already go up there and hang out. They just hop through the railing and hop down onto this platform, onto this perch, whatever you want to call it. So since they hang out there so much, I'm like, I should just make it a little spot for them. Obviously, the first thing I thought of was I need a rug to make it look like a living room. A runner would be a great choice because it's long and skinny, and I need it to be skid-free, rubber bottomed, and washable. I don't want it to slip around. I want it to be safe for the kitties, and I want to be able to throw it in the wash. Then couches. I want 2 couches that look like actual sofas. Not a round donut, not a regular cat bed, sofas. I want it to look like a real living room. And I looked some up, Wayfair, Amazon, Chewy, and I saw some that I liked, but they're like over $100, between $120 to all the way up to like $300. I saw some couches, and I wanted 2, and I'm like, I could totally make them. I can totally make them, and I did. I also want a fireplace. I've seen a lot of people make fireplaces out of foam, and it's just for show. It's not gonna be a real fireplace. It's not gonna have fire in it. So I definitely wanted a fireplace with a mantle, and eventually I would like to add some shelves so that they could hop up on the shelves, hop up on the mantle, and use that vertical area to go high, and hang out. And also very important, above the mantle, I wanted some sort of portrait or portraits of the cats. So now that you know my plan, let me really quick introduce you to the kitties. If you don't care, use the timestamps in the description box to skip ahead. This is Tattoo. He's 14 years old. He's a sleek, handsome house panther. He has a foot fetish, and he drools when you pet him. And he gets very surly if you wake him up from a nap. And I can relate. And this is Biscuits. Biscuits is a new addition. We think she's about 2 or 3. She's only been in our house since October 2023, so only a few months. She was sadly dumped out here in the country, which pisses me off. Please don't dump off your pets. But luckily, she made it to us. We tried for a month and a half to find owners and were unsuccessful, so now we are her owners. She was malnourished and very sick when we got her, and she had like bacterial pneumonia, but luckily we were able to get her to a vet, got her a heroic dose of antibiotics, isolated her in her own room in the house until she was free of fleas and ticks and her sickness. And then when she was healthy enough, we got her spayed, and she is happy as can be. She seems to really love it here. And luckily, even though Tattoo is an old man, he's really tolerating her well, and he's even letting her lick the top of his head, which is very cute. She is really fitting in. She is healthy, and she constantly makes biscuits. She has never stopped. Always, as soon as she gets on something squishy or soft, she's making biscuits. So that's why we named her Biscuits. And so to welcome her to the home, we're building the cats a living room. Okay, so on to the sofas. I built these couches while my parents were visiting for Thanksgiving, so my mom helped me a lot. I used as much random material that I already had around the house as I could, so I used some excess wood left over from my guinea pig enclosure project. So for the base of the couches, I used handy panels, which is basically like IKEA furniture, where it's like that slippery paint and then like particle board, So I had some extra of that, and I had one big piece, and when I cut it in half, it ended up being about 1 foot by 2 feet. And for the backs and the arms of the couch, I used brown board. It's 1/8 of an inch thick, and that was also left over from my guinea pig project. You could use whatever. You could use cardboard. Like, cats aren't very heavy. For the foam, for the squish, I got one big roll of 1-inch memory foam from the craft section of Walmart. And that was about $16, so not super cheap, but I didn't even end up using the entire roll. But it was just the right thickness and softness that I was looking for, and it was really easy to work with. And then for upholstering the sofas, my mom brought a queen-size fleece blanket that she got at a thrift for $1, and it was plenty to cover both of the couches. So that was a good choice. So I was really just flying by the seat of my pants while I was making these. I didn't really know what I was doing. I've never built a couch before. So I started with the seat and I put the foam on top and I just used tacky glue, like craft glue, to hold it in place and put a book on it until it was dry. Then I attached the back to the seat, and that I used the brown board, and I just used my staple gun and some 1/4-inch staples to attach that onto the back of the seat. And I just made this the width of the couch seat and 6 inches tall because I was going for a modern low profile couch. So I decided to do the seat and the back first and upholster them and then make the arms separately and then attach the arms. So I basically just took the blanket and stapled it to the bottom of the seat and just kept wrapping and stapling until it looked good. And I used the crack in between the seat and the back to just kind of tuck the blanket in and then wrap the blanket around the back and attach it to the bottom of the seat there as well. It's something that's very hard to explain, but once you do it, you just kind of figure it out and do it. So once I got the seat and the back done, I tackled the arms. Initially, I had 2 pieces of foam on either side of the brown board, but then I decided if I just use a big piece of foam and wrap it around, I'll get that rounded couch arm look. So I used that tacky glue and I put a book on it and waited till it dried. And then to upholster the arms, we couldn't figure out a way to upholster it with one piece and have it look good and not bunchy. So we cut a piece and glued it to the face of the arm. And then we wrapped the sides of the arm with one piece of blanket. We ended up just sewing the fabric on the edges to the foam. And then to cover up the seam where these sides meet the face, my mom crocheted just like a chain of gray yarn and we just sewed it right on to cover up that seam. And it made it look so finished. It was such a good idea. Great job, Mom. To attach the arm onto the seat, I had a bit too much foam, so I just used my utility knife and cut the excess off, and then I just smashed it up against the seat and stapled it. And then we wrapped the excess fabric across the back and stapled it. We were just pulling and stapling and gluing and making everything stick until it looked like a couch. It was really fun to just play around and figure out what to do. And after we got both arms on, we got really excited. Like they looked like a couch. And of course, my mom crocheted blankets for the kitties. And then I was like, they can't just be flat on the ground. I need legs. So I got the idea. My daughter had a giant bin of blocks that I had gotten at a garage sale years ago. So I asked her, could I have 8 of these? And then it was a couch. Oh my God, that was the finishing touch that I needed. And this is how they looked in the end. They turned out so cute. Like, I get why cat sofas on the internet are $150 because these are like quality, man, and I made them. I was so proud of myself. As soon as they were done, I had to put them up in the perfect perch, which is what I think I'm gonna call it. So I put the couches up there and I was so nervous because I'm like, we just spent like 2 days building these sofas. What if the cats never lay in them? What a waste. But Tattoo went right up. They both explored and then Tattoo laid down and took a nap. I cannot tell you how satisfying it was to see him napping in that. So anyway, once the couches were done, I was very excited and I jumped into making a fireplace. Honestly, since it's not even real, it's just for show, use what you got, get creative if you want to build a fireplace for your cats. I used, you know, those tri-fold project boards that you use for the science fair? I got 2 of those from Walmart and I think they were $2 each. I looked at it and I thought, that is the shape of a fireplace. You could just use cardboard, but I didn't want to spend my day like cutting up cardboard boxes until it was the shape of a fireplace. So did I cut corners? I don't know, but it was so smooth and so easy to work with. So that's what I used. I scored vertically down the middle of the 2 side pieces and bent them. And then I cut my second project board vertically down the 2 skinny side pieces. And I just used packing tape and attached them until it was all shaped like a fireplace. But when I was done, it was too tall. The project board was 3 feet. And so I thought, oh, 3 feet, that's a good height, you know. It was way too big next to the couches. So I just took my utility knife and I cut off the bottom foot. And it worked really well. Then it was a much more manageable size. So it ended up being 2 feet tall instead of 3 feet tall. And that was much better. Now I wanted it to look like brick or stone. And I did a project in my old house where I made a wall look like a faux brick wall. And it was this peel and stick, squishy 3D wallpaper. So I bought the cheapest kind that I could find on Amazon because I'm like, it doesn't need to be a real wall. It's for my cats. So I got the cheapest kind you can get. And I cut out the little half bricks off of the edges so that I can interlock them so that it looked more real, so there wasn't a weird seam, and that worked so great. And I just like put them on the fireplace using painter's tape to kind of figure out the placement that I wanted, and then I just started peeling and sticking. And I covered the entire thing with the peel and stick bricks. And I got really excited at this point because it was starting to really look like a fireplace, but I didn't want to leave it white and shiny. So I started by painting it, and I painted the grout gray because I was kind of using my own fireplace as inspiration. And then I just used some craft paint that I already had laying around, just acrylic paint, and I just started layering colors. I started with tan and brown, and then I just started adding in sponge painting different colors: tan, brown, gray, white, off-white, just whatever colors I had. And I just kind of sponged it on until I was like, it is done. I'm not an artist. I'm not a professional painter. I don't know what I'm doing. I just went with it and I like the way it looks. Now for the top, my plan was to have an actual mantle. I just got a shelf from my local hardware store, like an already 8-inch by 4-foot board shelf and a couple of brackets. My husband actually hung the mantle for me because he got up onto the perfect perch and he is just a bit more nimble than I am. I'm a little bit afraid of heights. So he did that for me, and he does not like to be filmed, and I respect it. So you're not gonna have footage of my husband hanging the mantle, but he hung it like a regular shelf with brackets in the studs. And now for on top of the mantle, the portraits. I went to Etsy, of course, and I got portraits made of tattoo and biscuits as a Victorian gentleman and Victorian gentle lady. Look at them. Look at how gorgeous they are. I will link the Etsy store in the description box. You can get these same portraits that I have. You can submit pictures of your own pets and pick what style you want them turned into. You could spend hours on this Etsy shop looking. I paid $30 per portrait. So this was the most expensive part of the project, but I regret nothing. But seriously, putting them up above the mantle really finished this room. The proportions are just right. I would like to go more vertical and have like fun shelves and hammocks and ladders and things for them to climb, and maybe even a staircase going down. But if you have any ideas after watching this video and looking at the finished product, please leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear it. How can I go more vertical? What would you do? This is the quote unquote finished product. This is the living room. We've got the rug, the couches, their little crocheted throws from their grandma. The fireplace, I got some LED candles with a remote control that have a timer in the fireplace. So they have this beautiful glow at night when they're sleeping up there. This turned out so much better than I thought it was going to, and I'm so pleased that the cats actually use it. Yes, this was crazy, completely insane. Who builds a living room for their cats? Me. I love it. It's the only thing I could have done with this nook. But if you have any other ideas of things I should add to the cat's living room, please let me know. Let me know what you thought. I'm sorry I'm not very good at like tutorials, but I didn't know what I was doing. This isn't really a tutorial. So I did my best to explain my process, but really I was just going with the flow and playing around, and this is how it turned out. And I couldn't be more proud of myself. Thank you to my mom for helping. You're amazing. And thank you to my husband for hanging up the mantle and the portraits because I am not very stealthy. If you liked this weird video, give me a like and let me know what you think of the perfect perch. If you have any questions or anything to add, leave me a comment. And if you like weird stuff like this, feel free to subscribe if you want to. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.